What is up, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. Just made about 1.5 R on the accounts today. Passed one of the evals I was trading, and then I got my funded out of drawdown, as you can see, which is amazing. This was in pretty deep drawdown. Was about to be blown before yesterday's trade and today's trade, so I'm really grateful for that. You can see here up about 1,500 on the funded, which is great. Hopefully I'm not leaking any info up here, but yeah, we'll go into the trade recap. So going into, I'll do a top down. So I've been bearish mainly because we swept previous month high and we have this unfilled BISI below us. And I'm expecting this lower one to not get traded back to and just serve as a breakaway gap. But I want to see a rebalance to this upper one here. And that also aligns with these equal lows on the weekly and this weekly BISI that's also unmitigated. That also aligns with that monthly. On the daily, you can also spot these lows here. You can see that they technically been swept, but you guys know ICT, this is not a good enough of a sweep if it only digs below the low by like 1 or 2 points. I think it's about 4 points. Given the context of what time frame this is on, this is basically a nothing, right? So typically when you see something like that, price will come back and sweep out those lows. So basically my higher time frame narrative was I want to see us essentially sweep these lows, retrace back into this weekly BISI, and then just continue to all-time highs and just catch longs all the way up. Now, on the daily, we also can see the order flow here is bearish. We're disrespecting all of these, or both of these BISIs here. And then there's this daily breaker that got closed below. So you mark this out. This is our bullish breaker. And you can see this candle closure below disrespects it. So really bearish on weekly and daily. Now going on the 4 hour is a little mixed. So we did have an SMT at the lows. I faded this because of just my higher time frame. It was actually, let me make sure I'm marking it out correctly for you guys. Yeah. We had an SMT right here. I didn't think it mattered though because overall bearish on the higher time frames. Overall narrative on the higher time frames, and I think I misspoke there, was bearish. And if you look on the 1 hour, we're still technically holding, well, we are holding this hourly SIBI. Now, what I did recognize though was we were in sort of a, almost like a buy model here. You can see this little uptrend on the 15 minute. And we did put in these, actually no, there's not even a buy model here. There's never been a change in state delivery or a market structure shift. So this is actually just a retracement. Take back what I said. This is just a retracement back into the SIBI. What I was looking at though was these equal highs up here. So ideally what I want to see was this just be a draw in the future and for us to continue lower today. And maybe next week we can target these relative equal highs or maybe even tomorrow. I won't be trading tomorrow though. So yeah, so that's basically my bias on the higher time frames. On the lower time frames, what I want to see at open, if I mark out 9:30 here, is I wanted to see us have our Judah swing up into this 30-minute SIBI, hold it, and continue lower. Now, the reason why I didn't want to see us go up to these highs because that would mean that we'd have to inverse this 30-minute SIBI right here, which would probably mean we're just bullish up until these highs, making these highs the morning drawn liquidity. And I would just have to either long in premium or just sit out. So yeah, that's basically the bias. These look really smooth, like I was saying. So I really wanted to see this hold if we're going to be bearish, which is what happened, which is nice. So I'm going to mark out the SIBI here better. We also had a 9:45 PMI, which was something I was, keeping in mind here. Now the reason why you're going to see why I took my trade beforehand is if your narrative is correct when it comes to price, you can take an entry before news given that it's not something super high impact like let's say FOMC, NFP, CPI, and the news would just propel price in the direction of where the drawn liquidity is on the higher time frame. So what I was thinking going today was like, okay, if I see something really obvious before news, I'll take it. But if price kind of just chops around, I don't really see anything clear, and we haven't had that Judah swing then I'll just sit out until news and really just see what happens from there. So here's the 9:30 candle right here. Now, at this point in time, we did put in an SMT up here with ES, and we were inside this 15-minute SIBI still. So in my head at open, I was like, okay, maybe we don't need to have that judo swing higher into that 30-minute SIBI. Maybe we can just hold this 15-minute and just get that drop lower, hold this fair value gap, and then we get some type of reaction off of it, like an IO Fed, like yesterday's trade, and I could just short that, right? So that's basically what happened. I was seeing this initially as the manipulation, and then this was like a market structure shift, and I highlighted this gap out right here. And once price traded back into it, I was gauging the reaction, and I was looking on a 15-second to see if we possibly wanted to turtle soup this high and then continue lower, and I could catch a 15-second inversion, very similar to yesterday's trade. You can see obviously that never happened, which is completely okay. And then we rally up higher, going into this 30-minute SIBI and filling it to CE right there, as you can see. Now, after we fill in that 30-minute SIBI, you can see first presented fair value gap gets formed right here, and we get a down close candle through it. Now, as soon as I saw this, I was like, okay, this looks pretty free. The draw is lower. I have two good targets here I could scale out at. And it's not right before news. It was it was actually it was like 5 minutes before news, but that's fine with me. That's okay with my risk tolerance. So I set my limit at the candle low of the CISD right here, because this was a bit big of a close for me. Obviously in hindsight, I could have set it at the first presented fair value gap, which would have been, a much better fill. Yeah, it would have been like 3.6 hours. So that's definitely something I'm going to take note of. But, I don't really care about that in terms of like having the best fill. I just want to make sure I'm in the right direction, right? So that's really minute, but it's always something I can improve on. So I got tapped in right here. Stop was one tick above this high, and I was going to scale out half at here at this internal low, and I was going to scale the rest out here. And as you can see, we chop around before news, and I get tapped in, and then at 9:45 we get this news candle down. So you can see right there that this just proves that the bias was correct. If I was offsides, the news would have been like this, right? News candle goes both to my TPs. Was in the trade for like 3 minutes, which is beautiful. Reason why I don't like holding for longer targets is I know my win rate is like 70% usually. So for me, if I can catch like a 1.5 hour trade, that's more than enough. I don't need to be catching any home runs. So low hanging fruit targets every single day is all I need. So yeah, that's the trade recap for today. Hope you guys learned something. Gonna be expecting these lows to get taken out tomorrow. We have Jerome Powell speaking, and we have Jackson Hole. I've literally never heard of that economic event, but I heard it's pretty high impact, almost like an FOMC where they debate some type of economic like things that are important. So I will be sitting out. I already am up 3R on the week, and I'm happy with the performance. So don't want to give back any profits. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video.